welcome to a SamMaeB special. I'm planning on doing these once a month, to mix it up a bit. See, every now and then, when I'm not watching TV or reading comic books, I take time to ask myself the really important questions. Philosophical issues that get right to the core of my being. Today's question is... Now, I could just say that he's a wonderful writer and a wonderful human being who's created some of my favorite fictional characters. I love Joss because I love his work, but Joss deserves more than that. I feel like the only way for me to adequately explain why I love Joss Whedon is to tell you why I love what Joss Whedon does. So where do I begin? What's the first Joss Whedon world that I was exposed to? Well, it was probably an episode of Buffy, but I didn't really know what I was watching at the time. I was young and stupid. The first thing was probably... That's right, it was Dollhouse, with Eliza Dushku. I'll get back to her later. Now admittedly I haven't seen all of Dollhouse, but I remember thinking that it was easily one of the most intelligent TV shows I had seen at the time, and I was very impressed with the premise, as I'm a scientist and have interest in memory manipulation and such. But Dollhouse wasn't the thing that made me fall in love with Joss Whedon. Like so many who have come before me, the thing that made me fall in love with Joss is... Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free, you can't take the sky from me. Take me out to the black, till I'm not coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea, but you can't take the sky from me. There's no place I can be since I found serenity, but you can't take the sky from me. Yep, I'm a browncoat, and we're still flying. It would take me hours to adequately state all the reasons I love Firefly so much. Any show that can move me to tears within 14 episodes is impressive in my book. The characters, the environment, Serenity itself, all of it culminates in the viewer feeling like a part of the beautifully complex family that Joss put on paper. The Reavers are also one of the more terrifying things Joss has ever imagined. Though labeled as science fiction, the show feels tangible, and characters like Kaylee encourage the tactile nature of the ship especially. You can't help but root for Mal, despite his grouchiness. Inara's grace and striking beauty create a visual counterpoint to the wear and tear on the ship, but she never seems out of place. The ability to put all of these diverse characters together and create a family must be commended and remembered. I could talk about Firefly all day. How much I love the show, how I wish it was still in the air, how wonderful the fan base is, but I think I'll let Joss's words say it for me. At the 10th anniversary Firefly reunion panel, a fan asked Joss what the fans mean to him, and he had this to say: "The way in which you have inhabited this universe, you're living Firefly. When I see you guys, I don't think the show is off the air. I think most browncoats long for the day when more Firefly is created, and there are still comic books, but their releases have been few and far between. The stories are wonderful though, and Joss has promised more." While I love Firefly, and have watched it no less than 10 times by now, after the first time I watched Serenity, I still really didn't know who this Whedon guy was. But then, about a year ago, my best friend got me started on the journey that will turn any Joss fan into a hardcore Whedonist. That's right, I'm talking about... Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Probably the thing the greatest number of Whedonists know him from. Now when I started this series, I can't say I was impressed. There are a lot of reasons why I'm probably classified as a bad Buffy fan. Let me go down the list. Number 1, I didn't really like the show until season 4. Before then, I was always just waiting around for Spike to show up. Number 2, I didn't really despise Riley until long after we met him. Yeah. Number 3, I hate Angel.
Number 4, I can't stand Dawn. And number 5, I love Once More with Feeling.
Now, depending on who you are, some of these are reasons I'm a good Buffy fan. Everyone's opinions are different about the show, which is great. I commend Joss for creating not only characters I love and want to befriend, but also characters that I cannot stand. How good is a writer who can only write one type of character? No, it's a credit to Joss that he created characters like Spike, whose words I personally have tattooed on my flesh, and also characters like Faith, whose very existence makes me want to punch small cute things. And if you're anything like me, you cringe when you hear this. But the show's overarching themes, the idea that heroes can come from anywhere, that sometimes the most innocuous characters in life are the most important, they are ideas that stick with you long after Season 7 ends. Episodes like The Wish, The Zeppo, Hush, The Body, Conversations with Dead People, Same Time, Same Place, and of course, Once More with Feeling, are the reason I fell in love with the series. Really, enough can't be said about The Body. It's one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. Buffy being forced to live on Earth after being pulled out of heaven by her friends is one of the more heartbreaking stories I've ever heard. Thank God the comics are still running.
My exposure to Buffy was when I really started to appreciate the wonderful world of Whedonisms. From phrases like major wiggage and moody much, to Willow's oh-so-awkward nerdiness and Xander's constant references to popular fiction. So, you can imagine my excitement when I heard that I would get to hear more of these kinds of things in...
The Avengers, another chance to see Joss's work on the big screen. I had no idea what to expect, but as anyone who has seen it will tell you, it's an excellent superhero movie, and it has Joss written all over it. Getting Joss for this project was a brilliant idea, as he has already proved himself to be a master of weaving multiple plot lines into one cohesive and compelling story. Good TV writing practically demands that ability. In The Avengers, you see Joss in the portrayal of Black Widow's character, lines like, "Shakespeare in the Park?" And especially in the scene where Black Widow interrogates Loki in the cage.
He took a bunch of superhumans and made them feel like humans. All of their pain and weakness was right out there for all of us to see. And yes, Joss did have a lot of material to work off of, both in print and on screen. But I think a lot of the credit has to go to him. I think one of the really wonderful things about the movie is that you can pick almost any character and make it about them. Yes, some characters got more screen time than others, but you'd be hard-pressed to identify the main character of the movie. The fact that Joss was able to create a story of this magnitude and to present it in the popular sphere is a credit not only to his writing, but also to Marvel Entertainment for giving him the opportunity, so yay Marvel! So I could go on and tell you about why more of Joss Whedon's efforts are wonderful, like The Cabin in the Woods. An apocalypse story with an actual apocalypse, where I found myself more amused than frightened. But I think I've touched on enough of his stuff to give you the idea.
Joss Whedon, like other great writers, creates characters that you are almost certain have a life of their own, even if they have magical powers or live on a spaceship. It is simply inspiring to hear Joss talk about his world and express his gratitude for his beloved actors and devoted fan base. Everyone always gets on his case about killing off characters we all love, but I think you would be hard-pressed to find a death that didn't have some purpose. Okay, point taken. But in all seriousness, Joss knows how to make an audience mourn. He creates deaths that really mean something to the audience. Otherwise, people might not care so much. He doesn't kill characters because he thinks it's fun. He has reasons, even if those reasons hurt a lot. I'm looking forward to his work on the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, and the Avengers too, but I also certainly hope we get another awesome TV show out of him, not necessarily tied to the Marvel Universe, sometime in the future. For now, we all just have to wait with anticipation, and maybe watch Firefly again.
One of the other things I love about Joss, and this may sound silly, is the fact that he works with the same actors so often.
I've reached a point now where I've stopped being surprised by common Whedon actors popping up in his shows and movies. Even the Avengers had Alexis Denisov. Oh, you didn't see him? Well, that may have been because he was dressed as an alien with, like, 6 fingers. You watch any Whedon production, and you're almost guaranteed to see an actor from Buffy or Angel. I guess he made a lot of good connections during those years. I think it's a great aspect of his work, though. To me, it represents the continued connection he has with his cast. They're his friends and his actors. And he enjoys working with people that he enjoys working with. I'm sorry for the tautology, but I think it's warranted. It's also really fun to the audience to see Captain Reynolds play a bad guy, or a supercharged superhero. Nathan Fillion may be one of the best examples, but there are plenty of others. Just listen to the audio commentary on Firefly, and you'll see what I mean.
I hope that my explanation of my Whedon love was sufficient, and that if you're unfamiliar with anything I talked about, maybe now you're compelled to go look into it. There's a lot going on in the wonderful world of Whedon. His writing is just smart. And as anyone who watches BBC Sherlock will tell you, smart is the new sexy. Feel free to suggest some other interesting, pseudo-philosophical questions that keep you up at the wee hours of the morning. Until next time, I'm SamMaeB, and that ruled.